Lara, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
I love your story for a few reasons. The primary one is because of how much you can deadlift.
Yes,
Right now, how much are we talking?
145 kilos.
Fucking serious.
And I weigh 52 kilos. So it's like, oh.
Nearly 3 times. And is that like your peak or you've done more?
Yeah, that's my peak, yeah.
145. Fuck. I've never done that in my life.
Really?
And I weigh a bit more than you. So that's awesome. But there's other things that you've got good at as well that we're going to go into. Writing, personal branding, LinkedIn, soon to be YouTube. But we'll get to that.
Okay.
My first question is maybe a weird one. Would you describe yourself as a creator?
I will. Yeah, always. I'm a creator first, entrepreneur second, I think.
Interesting. And why would you say that?
Because I've always loved creating content since I was a very young girl. And then the entrepreneurship part just came as a result of creation. But if someone told me to choose between entrepreneurship and creating, I would always go for creator. I love, you see me creating content on LinkedIn, Twitter, now YouTube, and that is my bread and butter. And then as a result, I become an entrepreneur because I've been able to monetize what I create.
You got so good, then you have to do this other stuff.
Yeah, and then people started asking me if I could do it for them, and then it just became a business. But it all started because I was creating.
Like the Twitter account you had when you were 13.
Yes, yeah, good research.
Tell us about this.
I just, ever since I was a little girl, I just knew I wanted to be on the internet. I got my first laptop when I was 5. I was in computer lessons since I was very young. My parents were very adamant of teaching me the internet. Since I was as soon as it came out, they were she needs to go on and learn computer science and stuff. And I went and I did it, and I found Twitter, YouTube, everything. And
what age was this? 13?
Very 13 was when I first started my accounts on social media, but it was even before that. I was watching YouTube and I was downloading illegal music and videos and films from LimeWire and all of those. Do you remember that?
Yeah. I think I'm a bit older than you.
Yeah, and I was downloading all the illegal stuff and getting viruses on my computer all the time. But I just always found the internet so fascinating, so I'm obsessed with it.
And so I want to dig into this creator thing. Why do you feel like this is you? Is it just because you have this audience of people and then you think about stuff and then you produce some content and they love it? You just really enjoy that process?
Yeah, just the idea of creating something out of your head and then having people like it and then exploring your sort of curiosity from that and being okay, I like this concept, I'm gonna recreate it, I'm gonna put my face in it, and then people react to it and and then you can keep on creating something you love, and then you create a community that loves it as well, just from your own head. And it's sort of I'm an only child, so I feel the need for a community has always been very big for me because I didn't have any siblings to share anything with. So the internet became my safe place to just create and explore things. And because I was always sort of the odd one out, I was just my parents were very different. They're Buddhists, vegans, Mexicans, and I was just the weird kid at school. I was the only girl with my skin color as well, so I was very different. My dad was always pushing me to be myself, and at school you're not really meant to fully be yourself. You're meant to be in a mold, and my dad really pushed me to be me, and people hated that. But in the internet, people just really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
So that's really it.
And so then you had this conflict because you became the creator, and then all these people were enjoying everything you're doing, and then that to sustain it or to grow it, you need the entrepreneurship part as well. So now you're essentially doing 2 jobs, right? So you have to, work out how you can split your time and do those both well. How do you manage the balance?
I don't. There is the idea of balance to me is non-existent.
So you just do it all.
I just do it all as much as I can, as hard as I can, and for as long as I can. But balance doesn't really exist. It's just more synergy or some sort of collaboration between both, but balance just doesn't happen. It's either hard mode or I'm resting, or like hard again or resting. When you're a creator and entrepreneur, both of them are incredibly important. One of them brings you the leads, and then one of them provides you with the idea of like how you're gonna get them and retain them, and then scale them. So you need both, and they're both incredibly different jobs. Like one is building a business, and one of them is creating the business. And it's like, okay. And when I was introduced to this whole entire world, I was like, okay, this is just so crazy. Like systems, SOPs, Excel sheets, Trello, Zoom, Calendly, Otta, like all these extensions that I had no idea about. And I was like, I just want to write content, and that's it. Can I just do that? And it's not. But I'm trying.
You're managing it. Where do you think like the obsessiveness comes from? Like you obviously with the way it's like got really good at that, and then now you're getting really good at the entrepreneurship stuff or the creating stuff you're already good at. Like, why do you think 95% of people would take a day off or take the weekend off, whereas you wouldn't?
It comes from challenge. Every single thing I've ever started comes from me having a massive chip on my shoulder.
But why? Because you're the only child.
No, just because like I'll see someone doing something better than me with less experience than me, and I'll be like, why are you doing that? And I'm not me. So like I'd see someone doing a deadlift, and I'll be like, I could do that, and then I'm not doing it, and I'm like, okay, I need to get good at this, and I just like fully immerse myself into the whole thing. And then it happened the same thing with entrepreneurship. I just saw someone doing with less experience than me doing better than me with absolutely no other reason than the fact that they just went and did it. And I was like, okay, this is my sign that I have to do it because I had all the experience, I had all the knowledge, but I just wasn't taking action, and that was like a big kick in the ass for me. And for powerlifting, it was how empowering the sport was. I got into it because of desperation of changing my body. I was like a little bit chubby. I was like kind of like not happy with my weight. I didn't like how I looked like. And then I got introduced to powerlifting, and it made me so confident. The confidence I have now wasn't always there. I was like, I was very insecure when I was a child. And the confidence that deadlifting double my body weight, triple my body weight brings you is just incomparable to anything. And the ability of being able to change your body, and from like fat to thin, or like overweight to, you know, shredded, it's just like an insane transformation that just carries you through your life, wherever else. Like you know you can do it. If you change your body, you can change anything else.
So you have like the confidence or the belief that if you've done it in one area, you could.
Yeah, like there's nothing harder than changing your body. Like, who wants to eat the same thing for like an incredibly insane amount of long weeks and even years sometimes? Like, track your calories, track your salt intake. If you're a powerlifter or like a bodybuilder, like yeah, I like for when I was on season competing, I would track my salt intake, I would track my water intake, I would track how much of X, Y, and Z I was taking, like micronutrients, not just macros. So being able to do all that, to see minimal results after 6 months, everything else in business is just like a walk in the park. Because I've been like, you know, I know what it's like to wait for something to happen. Like compounding effort is so important.
How do you think you'd be different if you had brothers and sisters?
I'll be less of a drama queen and like less of a princess. I think I'd probably still be the same.
Be the same.
Yeah.
Okay, let's pull on the weightlifting thread. So I think that to me seems like the big learning, which is you've achieved this in one area, and so you have the belief to do it in the others. But was there anything else you learned that is, say, helping you in business now?
From lifting?
Yeah.
Oh, so much. I always say that the gym has always been my biggest classroom because it's taught me discipline, to wake up and do the exact same thing over and over again, and then to treat the gym with respect. At a powerlift, I went to this gym called MSC Performance in Birmingham, and the way they respected the sport was so, I don't know, almost like majestic at times, because it was like, please be nice to everyone at the gym, please be kind, please be supportive. They would encourage that community feel. And now I literally do that for a living. Like I build communities. I I talk to people all the time, I support people all the time, and that natural like just for me to do it naturally now comes from the lessons that my coach taught me at the gym. And it's like, be kind, put your weights back in, always say thank you.
Always. Yeah.
Clean. We had to clean the racks, like with the, when you lift up like a bar, you have chalk, and we had to clean it like ourselves. Like there was like the cleaners were there, but like you do it out of respect. So now in business, I am very respectful and kind, just because that's what I was taught at the gym, which is really cool.
Yeah, so that's not necessarily from weightlifting, but like the whole experience. You picked up this learning from this specific gym that now you can apply.
Yeah, MSC Performance is the best one in Birmingham, by the way. So,
I really haven't been there. Well, I actually haven't been to that many.
Yeah, I think the powerlifting community is incredibly powerful and so supportive. It was very, very small, like when I first started powerlifting in 2018, and it was just so niche, and everybody knew each other, everybody was supporting each other, and it's just a true real life community of people supporting each other online and offline. And whenever I'd see everyone at competitions, everybody knew each other. Everybody would literally shout for each other, like when they were like going for a PR, like on stage. And it's crazy because powerlifting competitions are literally like seven hours long. They're like the longest thing, like so useless. Like you see people do 9 lifts for like 7 hours, and then that's it. Literally nothing else happened. There's nothing, and just like up and down, and that's it. But people still go to support their friends because the environment is so intense and so filled with joy and just like courage. It just uplifts you.
Do you track your like LinkedIn metrics like you used to track your macros?
No.
But
No.
Is that not like a learning from powerlifting?
The macros were like my peak. I'm never looking at analytics ever again.
Really?
No, I barely look at analytics. I'm really good. Like I'm really bad at.
But then how do you know what's working?
I don't. I just keep on doing. I just look at the likes and I'm like, okay, that kind of worked.
Like your
Try again.
key metric.
Yeah, I don't look at impressions as much. Like I would look at them, but I'll be like, okay.
Okay, yeah. We're going to get to that later. I want to talk about writing.
Okay.
Because I feel like you're pretty awesome at writing.
Thank you.
And I want to know how you got good.
I don't know. I really don't know how it happened. I think it's a combination of me being in social media for so long.
Since you were doing the Twitter account.
Since even beforehand. Like, I've been living on the internet since since the first memory I've ever had. Like, and as I said, the internet has always been like my safe place. So I've just created so many stories in my head that I think I just became a really good storyteller just because I just be delusional as fuck and tell different stories to myself of what my life could be like if I was like this, or like if I had brothers or sisters, or like if my life was different and I was normal like all the other kids. This is what I would be like, and maybe I'll be like the popular girl, like the most interesting girl in the world, and I'd be like having all these friends. And in my head, that's like the rhetoric I would have when you are consistently, I don't know, bullied at school. You just create this like safe space in your head where you're like just living your own world, and that was like my own safety net. And then with writing, it was an exploration of that, like my storytelling, and then a lot of just grasping what worked quickly. From the Twitter account that I had, I understood emotions quite quickly, even though I didn't know what the fuck what that meant. I just it became intuitive, just because that worked, that didn't. Okay, let's do more of what's working. And then intuitively, I just became very aware of it. And then then I just forgot, because I forgot about the Twitter account and all of that. Then when I came back to content creation, I just found it really easy to understand. But I never read a copywriting book fully.
Yeah, I was going to say, no like training courses or
no
a book.
I've taken like a few social media marketing courses, but like they don't teach you copywriting as the thing. Like they just teach you content creation. So I wouldn't I wouldn't call myself the best copywriter, but I'm good at writing content. So yeah, I don't think I'm against the copywriters. Like, no offense, like I am great at my job, but like they are better. Like they know all the rules and the stuff. I'm just good at content.
Yeah, I think you can break writing down into two areas. So it's like knowing the rules, like technically to make it good, and maybe that's not like your strong point. But the other half, or maybe the half that I think is more important, is like the way you think.
Yeah.
And I think if you're like a weird person, or like you think weirdly, think differently, then you can write and create awesome stuff.
Yeah, that's what I do. I think I'm able to see something works. Okay, how can I replicate this for like a million people? Okay, cool. And then just do it.
And you were training, the Twitter account at 13, it makes so much sense now because you're basically training at the Olympics, like doing memes on Twitter like 10 years ago. And then that's basically what you're doing, obviously with a bit more style maybe, on LinkedIn and on Twitter at the moment, right?
Yeah, I posted on my Instagram today. I was like, my job is literally I wake up, I go on LinkedIn, I see a meme of myself done by someone else, I laugh at it, and then people enjoy the whole interaction. And then that's it. That's like almost like my day done. And then clients, obviously. But half my job has literally like the up of me consisted of me cracking writing content on LinkedIn and then humor. And then from there, like my everything just went up because like community really just enjoyed the memes. Because LinkedIn is kind of like that. Like there's not enough humor, not enough banter because it's so B2B and so professional that when they see something funny, they're like, oh my God, that's insane. That's just like ridiculous. And I'm like, I'm the funniest person around. But yeah, I love my job so much.
That's the other thing that I do have written here is like humor. I think more on Twitter, that's where you put your funny stuff. But again, I guess that's just because you think differently. You like think weirdly and you can.
Yeah, I think every platform is different. Like on Instagram, you're a little bit more bougie. On LinkedIn, you're professional. On Twitter, you're just funny because that's just the culture. So, and even some of my clients and cohort, like community members, they're like, guys, you have to go follow Lara on Twitter. She's like a completely different person there. You have to follow her on Instagram because she's a completely different person there. And I'm like, yeah, that's actually very true because you just adapt to how people like to consume content. I was actually very against video content on LinkedIn for a while because I just know people don't consume it as much. So I was trying to adapt to that, but now I'm like changing my ways. But Twitter is literally my content dumpster where I just test ideas, see what happens, and then if they work, I repurpose them onto actual content on LinkedIn. If they don't, then that's fine. They're just funny. Yeah, so it's become like a testing round for me. So it's been actually really good to test ideas or like hooks or new concepts. I test a lot of video content there before I put it on LinkedIn. So it's been super cool.
How much of your time would you say of your working hours do you spend creating stuff, creating content?
All day.
The whole thing?
Yeah, I'm either researching content and then creating it, or I'm writing content.
Okay, but then you have the whole business side as well.
Yeah. So that is just okay. So I spend about 80% of my time creating content and 20% client and strategy and stuff like that. But most of the time, I try and aim it for me to prioritize content creation and just ideation because that's what inspires me. If I notice that if there are days where I just do calls, because a lot of solopreneurs do this where they just have a whole day booked with calls, like that's their day, they don't have any calls for the week. For me, that day is horrible and I hate my life and it ruins the entire week for me, regardless, because I just need to be creative, like at all times. Otherwise, I feel low.
I think this is the interesting point for the B2B marketers listening, is that they're all like struggling to get either themselves or people that they're in their business that are trying to make famous. But then I don't think they understand that to get to your level, you have to spend 80% of your time. Well, you don't have to, but to get as good as you need to be, you have to spend a lot more time.
Yeah, a lot of people compare their journeys to me, and they're like, "Oh, she's been doing this for 2 years and she's already exploded on LinkedIn." I've been doing this since I was like 5 years old, but it doesn't really count because it wasn't work. It was just me learning it. But in reality, I spend my every single day learning content. Like I consume it like crazy. I literally listen to 3 podcasts a day. I look at TikTok to analyze it. I look at Instagram sometimes, Twitter all the time, LinkedIn here, calls with clients to ideate, looking at piece of new content written by other of my friends. Like it's just a lot all the time. Consistent consumption is what's made me so good, or I guess like ahead of a lot of people, just because it's like a consistent content machine you have to create.
You love the game.
I love content so much. It's my fuel.
Can we do a case study, a LinkedIn case study?
Of course.
So as I mentioned, B2B marketers listening. So it's a B2B SaaS company in the pharmaceutical space.
Okay.
And we're going to take the role of like the B2B marketing manager, and they've been tasked with taking someone within the business and like making them famous on LinkedIn within the pharmaceutical world.
Mm-hmm.
What's the first thing we need to do?
Actually, yeah, I have several clients like B2B in like very boring industries like steel and just random like lawyers and stuff. It doesn't matter what industry you are, B2B, B2C, C2C, like the thing that builds your personal brand, again, it's personal, is your personality. People go wrong all the time trying to go in with too much education, where it's not even education, it's like very hardcore, badly written piece of content where it's like, it's not even like a here's how to, it's like pharmaceuticals are the most important thing you can find in your entire life. And this excerpt from like this news magazine this article that we found from 1997. Here's why we think you should care. Sign up below. Who the fuck is gonna read that? No one. Even like the most professional people. LinkedIn is a social media platform, and they're there to be entertained, inspired, or educated. So if you're not managing to get their attention within the first 3 seconds of doing, because you're not doing any of them, they're not gonna read it, even though your content might be super interesting and insightful for them. If you're not touching on any of those points that they need to know, like, okay, what is this? What's in it for them to read? People think that because they're like in such a niche industry, like education, like super random, like pharmaceuticals, they need to be super professional about it and use jargon, like professional jargon, when in reality, the more simple you make it for someone to learn something, the more they're gonna like you. So what we've done for most of my clients in B2B is we've taken the most important parts of their business and we've reversed engineered what the actual value is for someone that they want to read it is. So like, what is a psychological reason why someone wants to read your content? Is it like money? Is it health? Is it fitness? Is it like adding value to their life? And then we start from there. So instead of saying pharmaceuticals are going to change the world, here's why, be like, this single thing is going to help you live longer. That's 20 times better because you're starting with the benefit, not with the thing. Mm-hmm. The thing doesn't sell itself if you don't sell it first with the benefit.
But we also need to choose somebody that has like a good personality, right?
I mean,
maybe we could choose a COO, but he's like super boring. Maybe he's like good at writing, whatever. But then this other person, like the head of sales, is like super interesting and like gregarious and like outgoing. If we should choose to build their personal branding.
Absolutely, yeah. I think there's an it factor that's necessary. Like that, you need to have charisma to build a personal brand. That's like a fact. Yeah, it's either there's a million ways to have charisma. You can have like dry charisma. You can have like typical charisma like celebrities, or you can have very like sarcastic one. But there still needs to be like a thing that makes you shine. Mark Barker used to call himself like the most boring copywriter at the start like of LinkedIn, but even in that, himself calling himself boring and using depreciating humor, that's still very charismatic. So yeah, 100% you need to have something going on besides the knowledge, but I wouldn't put that much stress on that. As long as you have something that you find super interesting and you're willing to try to explore that as much as you can and try new things, like maybe tell your story a little bit or like tell your experience, that'll work.
And then more tactically, are we posting like twice a day?
No. Twice a day on LinkedIn is crazy.
Really?
Yeah. That's crazy.
So like once a day?
Once a day. I post once, like 3 times a week at this point. At one point I posted 5 times a week, but right now I don't feel like I want to.
Okay, so we're going to start 3 times a week. We're going to choose the head of sales who's like a bit charismatic. We're going to ensure that we're talking about the benefit, not just like when we're talking about anything to do with the product, we're going to be talking about the benefit, not about like what the product does.
Right.
And then what else do we need to know?
You need to know that there is an important factor and it's called leverage. So what is it about you specifically that's going to bring you the most interest? So again, is it your charisma, or do you have a lot of contacts in the industry that can immediately like your post as soon as it lands, and then you can get that immediate boost of engagement, and then a lot more people see it, because there's this very common LinkedIn rule that you have to spend time engaging on LinkedIn, otherwise your post won't pop off. And this is true, but the way you can hack it is if you have a lot of industry connections that will be interested in what you're saying. So like a lot of businesses have the advantage of this because they're all connected with each other in their organizations. Like everyone at certain organization connects with everyone. So if you get everyone in the liking that, then it's an immediate boost, and it like pushes your post up to the algorithm. It indicates that it's a good post. So how can you create that immediately? How can you pinpoint what's going to work for you? So do you have the connections? Okay, just keep them active. Okay, do you have a very good hook that you can use, and someone else like me, I have 100,000 followers on LinkedIn. So if I flex, I don't think having followers on LinkedIn is a flex, by the way, but okay. But if like only a fraction of my following see me liking that, then that's a massive push for like a single post. We see it all the time with like individual creators where me and like my other two friends will go and like a post that has no likes. We'll come back later and it's got like 500 likes.
Really?
Just because, well, if you take like 300,000 followers combined, then like even if just a little fraction of that sees it, then it's a push. So what can you leverage in your network? That's the main thing I would focus on most. What is your unfair advantage? Finding your unfair advantage is the most important thing you can do when you start building your personal brand.
And what about format? Because I've seen recently you like writing the post, but then uploading an image that looks like a Twitter post with the post. Like, is that working right now?
So I do it because purely I am very lazy, and I found that images at the moment are performing incredibly well on LinkedIn.
Really?
So instead of just using a photo of me, which I don't want to use because I only use them when I'm storytelling. So I don't want to consistently, I don't want to make it into an Instagram, otherwise I'll be on Instagram. So what I do is I use a writing prompt that is just like a teaser, like a thumbnail for what the post is about. And then it's a 2-for-1. If I'm not getting the writer, the consumer with the text, I'm getting them with the photo. And if I'm not getting them with the photo, I'm getting them with the text. And then it's like a 2-for-1, like they're getting double value for like one post.
And but how did you like, I guess this comes back to you like spending all your time innovating, investigating. Like how did you find that like formula, or did you just test it one day?
Yeah, so I saw Justin Walsh doing it. He's amazing, and I follow him closely. He's one of the biggest pioneers, I think, for LinkedIn things. Like he was one of the first people I followed, and Mark Barker. And I saw them doing it, and I saw a few other people doing it, Ben Meir and someone else. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna give this a go. And then I did, and it didn't do well. I was like, okay, this is not gonna work for me. Then I did it again, but I iterated the copy and made it more digestible and consumable for someone to just read. Like I asked myself, and I should have done this at the start, I asked myself, okay, what would I actually like to consume from this photo? It's like just a bite-sized platitude. And then I didn't want to make my account just platitude based, like just surface level content. So I will feed them with a platitude to get them hooked, because everybody loves a platitude. Like what is it? I don't know. My most viral post is a photo that says like, I read 52 books in 52 weeks and I made $0. I read one book in 52 weeks and I made money, and it's like money signs. That's literally what it says. And then like at the top there's like a lot of value. Like I broke down Robert Cialdini's influence rules, but that just showed me that people just like the basic stuff and then the detail. It's like the hook. It's like a double hook. So then I tested it again with that, and then went massively viral.
What about on the profile itself for this head of sales that we're going to make famous? Do you have anything we should optimize?
Okay, so for this head of sales,
that was like a sigh, like, oh my God, there's a lot to do.
It's a lot to do. It's not as simple. So we need to optimize his profile first. Like what is he looking friendly? How can we make him look as appealing and interesting as possible? So his headshot needs to be, clear, concise, and his face needs to be smiling at least to make him more approachable. His banner needs to be clear, like what is he talking about? It can't be just a logo of the company he's working at least like make people see what the idea of what he's talking about is.
Got it. Okay, that's got to be like congruent through the whole profile.
Yeah, because then if someone goes, if you post a good post and then they come into your profile and they're like, oh, this looks like very corporate and boring, they're gonna like, almost content is like dating. Like you have to keep on swipe. Like you need to find the right balance between great content and then attractiveness in the way it looks. Like we're all humans, we're judgy, and you want to look your best at all times. So your profile is the best way to do that. So that's optimized. And then the content, if you're educating consistently, how can you give the most amount of value in the least amount of time? So how can you break down something so complicated and make it so simple that someone's gonna be like, oh, because people love it when you break down things in simple terms. Like it's addictive content because they're like, oh my god, I never thought about it like that. And that's what you want from your customer. Like, oh my god, like light bulb moment. And then they'll attribute that learning to you. And that's what you want. That's how you build a community. That's how you build loyal fans, because you are saying the ideas are already out there, but you're teaching them your way. And then they're like, yeah.
So we have to teach them our way of the pharmaceutical industry.
Yeah, just make pharmaceuticals fun, entertaining.
I think that's a big opportunity because there's almost like a barrier for B2B people to have like a personality. And so I think this could be a big opportunity for our pharmaceutical company, is to make our head of sales like a normal person.
Still my strategy. I'll send you an invoice.
Okay, I think if that's everything we need to know for LinkedIn, so we've got post format, post frequency, profile. You said the network thing is probably the most important. Like that's the highest leverage thing to do, is work out how we can get other people to.
Yeah, if I can count the creators and like with my hand that I started with, that I still on LinkedIn, and the only thing we all have in common is that we leverage our network massively. All of us were networking like crazy at the start, and this is from when you don't have a network. Like all of us were like in our 20s. We don't have corporate connections on LinkedIn. We don't have anything, so we had to start from like the ground up. And the only way you can start building yourself up is by networking a lot, and then start climbing the steps to getting to the higher ranks. But it was like you have to be willing to spend the time, or you have to find that one person that's going to make the massive difference, that's going to introduce you to a massive network of people that you can then like connect with and like start networking with, like a normal networking event. Then we'll introduce you to even more opportunities.
That's interesting. I didn't realize how important that was.
It's incredibly important. I think people forget that LinkedIn is literally a networking platform.
But you have to like meet them in real life, and then you become friends, and then you help each other.
Yeah, and then now it's a lot more easy. Like you don't have to even meet them in real life. You can meet them for a coffee chat on Zoom, and then it's like.
So how do you do it?
Yeah, that's literally how I did it. I posted content, people reached out to me, and then I was like, hey, do you want to go on a coffee chat? And then they're like, yeah, of course.
What, like as weird as you just said that?
Yeah. I was like, do you want to go on I was like in my laptop in Mexico, like trying to figure out how to do this like networking thing. I didn't know anything. And then that's how I actually met my first mentor. I literally was like, he added me on LinkedIn, and I was like, oh my god, he's so big. He had like 20K on LinkedIn.
For real? Oh, and how many did you have?
I had like 10, 12, like 2K followers at the time. He added me, and I was like,
really? What could they see? He liked your posts.
Yeah, he liked something about it. And to be fair, he's like, his name is Richard Moore, and he's just very extroverted like that with people. He's just very kind and giving. And he added me, and I was like, oh my god, thank you for connecting.
Richard. And then you were like, be my mentor.
No. He just started mentoring me from the kindness of his heart.
You pay him or?
No, until I only recently started paying him for coaching, but from that, like, he actually just would give me advice. But it started from me being like, hi, would you like to hop on a coffee chat?
What you did the coffee chat? Like?
Yeah. And then he was like, great. And then from there, he just kept on keeping up with me. And he was just so kind. He gave me all his secrets to the trade of the LinkedIn sales game.
Real.
Applied some of his stuff, and it really worked. And then I think he saw how proactive I was with his advice. That he was
I
like,
think that's the key. If you get a mentor, it's just like
just actually acting on it. Yeah, I think it's the biggest compliment you could give someone when they give you advice and you don't waste it.
yes,
Because
that's crucial.
even now, like, people ask me for advice, and I can give them all the tips and all the keys, but they won't apply it.
And then they're not going to get more if they don't apply it.
Yeah, because it's like I already wasted my time on you. So
How many like mentor coaches do you have?
I've had so many, like, even with fitness, I've always had a fitness coach. So like mentors have always been a massive needle mover for me. So I have my fitness coach still, like someone that I've had for years. I have Richard. I have another one, and I paid for another. I went into a mastermind recently, like a mastermind style mentorship that's connected me with a lot of like really high performing entrepreneurs, and that's been amazing for me and my mental health as well, and like just business. So I have a lot of mentors, just because I feel like being surrounded by A players makes you one.
You're like 26 now, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, so young.
I
Really
feel
good.
old.
Really?
Yeah.
YouTube, how are we doing there?
Just started.
Yesterday.
Yes.
We're going to link to that video, wherever it is.
Subscribe.
And so is that just because you have Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok?
Newsletter.
Newsletter, yeah, okay. And then, so is the idea or like, what's the strategy? Like, why bother investing in YouTube when you have these 3 social platforms and the newsletter? And business.
Yeah, I don't know. I have like this rule, and I'm literally breaking it. I was like, focus on one platform at a time. Like I always tell people off. They're like, what is like your multi-channel strategy? If you asked me like 6 months ago, I'd be like, just LinkedIn. And now I have newsletter, LinkedIn, Twitter, and now YouTube, and then I'm trying to do a million other things, and I'm just like, oh. But I feel like there's just opportunity for me to just grow on all of them right now. I've already grown on LinkedIn to 100K plus. Then on Twitter, I have 10K plus. So now I think on newsletter, I have 10K plus. So I think that's like the line for me to just add another network.
Okay.
I have a very strong network here on LinkedIn, and then it's just funneling everyone to the other ones. And now YouTube just seems like the most natural transition for me. And I saw one of my friends starting a YouTube, and then I was like,
Oh.
I was getting jealous, and I was like, why is he doing it and I'm not doing it?
How long do you reckon you give yourself until 10K subscribers on YouTube?
I don't know.
3 days? Have you posted about it on LinkedIn?
24 hours.
Did you post?
Yeah, I
Did you not
posted.
just say follow me on?
I
Stripe?
posted a little teaser where it was
Yeah.
like a story. I always try and lead every single post I post with a value rather than promotion. And I think
Nice.
that's what's kept my community so strong, that I never direct cold sell them anything. I just sort of try and inspire them, and then come and follow the journey if you want.
It's also a way to convert more, right? And then like if you can lead people in, they're like, oh, it's a story, and then you get them like bought in.
It's just more emotionally invested in you, and then the more emotionally invested in you, the more likely they are to return as customers. So yeah, 100%.
Can you tell the YouTube story?
Can I tell a YouTube story?
No, the post that you did about.
Oh yeah, I think it's like, I just posted my first LinkedIn post today. This is the most important day of my life, and it's like,
Well, that was a hurt.
Yeah.
It was the most important day of my life.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah. I literally cried. Okay, and then it was like
This was yesterday.
Yeah, this was yesterday. It's like at 15, I got my I think I started my YouTube channel. At 16, I learned how to edit.
Oh, I bet this performed well.
Yeah, I did well.
How many likes?
It's 1,500.
Yeah, okay.
It's okay.
Standard, right?
It's alright. Yeah, I didn't do as well. So I'm joking. And then I went and broke down why I was starting a YouTube channel rather than keeping on with the story. I just gave them a little teaser. I call this like the Slay framework, where I start with a story, lead with a lesson, then give actionable advice, and then end with a you.
Oh, nice.
That's my framework. But it works really well because it makes people invested. Then they still feel like they're getting some value. And then you turn it onto them, okay, how does this relate to me? I'm using emotional language to just sort of connect with them. So it's less about me and more about them. So then the community aspect again is like very important. It's like, it's not just, I'm not just doing it myself, you're doing it with me. Like we're all in this like together sort of like style.
I love this kind of dark influence stuff.
It's not dark. I feel like that's what everything I do is inspired by people I used to follow on YouTube. So I want to give people the same feeling that my favorite influencers gave me when I was lonely and a child, like trying to find some sort of comfort. So yeah, and like we're besties, you and me.
The YouTube content strategy, are you going to talk about similar things, but just in a different format?
Yeah, the plan is to repurpose a lot of my LinkedIn content that's already performed well, that's already proven content. So I think,
and then like create the video.
Yeah. So repurposing now is incredibly easy because I have the proven content. It's tested in 2 platforms, 3 platforms even. So now I can just take it, turn it into a long form script, and then turn it into a YouTube video, which is a lot easier than if I was starting from scratch with no copywriting or like viral content experience.
Your unfair advantage. In your own words.
Yes.
What happens in the future? Do you think you just get bigger and bigger and then you're going to be like on TV? You think that's the trajectory?
I want to dominate the world. Yeah. So I want to turn my LinkedIn into a massive cult following and make everyone
follow you. Like they'll just be walking around, you'll be walking down the street, they'll just be following you, chanting.
No, I think my main like here like vision is to help as many people as possible build a personal brand, because I know how impactful it's been for me. Like from being so sad at one point and feeling so lost to now being able to build myself up from the ground up just because of social media and just because I decided to actually take action and share my thoughts online. That is so powerful, and I wish my younger self would have known that's okay. Like there's people that would like her for who she is and like her very niche nerdy interests, like YouTube for hours and like looking at creators and studying marketing. Like that's fine. If you want to do that, just do it. There's a place for you on the internet, and the internet's so magical. So my purpose here is to let people know that they can just build the life of their dreams the moment they decide they want to change. Like if you don't like yourself, change. Literally, that's the only thing you need to do.
Lara, so many learnings. I've got a couple here. I think maybe the biggest one is like you like see your posts or see your tweets and they perform really well, and you're like maybe she's just getting lucky or whatever, but it really isn't. Like you've been iterating on this for like 10 years, more than that maybe, and almost it might not, maybe not everything is planned, but everything is just quite like well done or strategic, and to get to your level, that's what you have to do. And so that's a big insight for me.
Thank you. I still feel like I don't know what I'm doing half of the time.
Well, seems to be working well. Then the other point was the like importance of network. If you're like trying to build an audience, obviously building relationships with other people that have an audience is like a good strategy. These are the 2 big insights. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure.